Okay, in terms of catechesis, okay, here's a big one. I know when we were talking about this earlier, we were saying that some of these things are heavier lifts than other of the recommendations. One of the things that was suggested was that we maybe consider doing a whole family catechesis model.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I know, what's your reaction to that?
My reaction is, that's a heavy lift.
Yeah.
That's a big, so just so you know, our listeners know, full family catechesis, it's kind of, not new, but it would be new in a lot of our Catholic churches, is instead of doing kind of like catechesis by grade, where you divide up, you have your small groups and teachers, the parents would be the ones teaching for most of the sessions, and they would gather periodically, maybe once every 3 weeks, once a month, something like that, to be, and everyone, the whole family is taught in their various grades, and then they go home and the parents do the teaching.
Yeah.
Is that a heavy lift?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
However, is it necessary or becoming more and more necessary? I think so.
Yeah.
Because if you talk about statistics, the statistics show that the number one factor in keeping young people in the faith, and none of the other factors are even close, is parent involvement.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do service trips. We could do them at the lectors at Mass, all these things. But the number one involvement is that their parents are involved in the faith, and their parents are faithful, and they teach the faith.
Yeah, and that is one of the, I would say, it had a lot of energy and passion behind that idea. Because, and there are models that we actually researched it, because one of the other things that we did, during pandemic, there were a lot of webinars that were offered throughout the Archdiocese and throughout the country, where some of the pastoral leaders were brainstorming as to, okay, what are we going to do? So you would get support, but the thing is, I'm going to give an anecdote, because not only change is hard at all levels, and this is something that I think in order for it to work, it would have to be over a certain period of time, and not we're just throwing a switch.
No, we would. Yes. Delicate.
So
over a long
Lisa,
period of time. Yeah.
So we're going to Lisa Hack, our coordinator of the biggest of the programs for faith formation, but so it's not dissimilar to those of you who are in the home study model. It's very similar to that. And however, you would also have a catechist that would be a point of contact that will help the parent with the material. And so I'll just give an example. I was talking this with somebody who said that they would love to have a conversation after the survey. New parent to our faith formation program, so her first experience, her child is in first grade, and she was very concerned about the fact that the classroom model wasn't open, because we're in full COVID right now, so we weren't meeting. So really the only thing that was available was home study. Yeah. And she said that she was very overwhelmed by the prospect of it, would not have chosen it, but having gone through it, she said it was such a wonderful blessing in her life. She said it became our little night, and Lisa Hack had once a month had prayer services that were virtual online. She said, we loved Miss Lisa. We loved getting on there with everyone else and seeing what it would be. She said it was such a wonderful experience. She says, I felt like I learned. We had conversations about whatever it was all week long. And this was with a 6-year-old, so a pretty young child. Yeah. And just, it just warmed my heart so much. And I'm like, yes, it might be unsettling because it's different, right? But it is very, very fulfilling. Yeah. So that is a heavy lift, but that was one of the things that that was there. Here's one that we're already doing: the periodic teaching masses. Yes. So that was something that came up pretty early in our brainstorming process in terms of a recommendation, in terms of how we can pass on the faith, and when we have most of us here is at Mass, and. It's really easy, especially I'm a cradle Catholic, to because so much of it is the ritual there, that you can let it wash over you instead of entering into it. Right. And I think that's one of the beautiful things that the teaching Mass does. It gives us the intentionality. Why are we doing? So that was one of the things that came up. And I would say that, like, right now already we are having like baby steps into having parent component for some of our formation process.
Yeah.
And this one I don't think this is on the list, but one of the other things that we had was in terms of catechesis is to maybe have some kind of like the faith forums that we do, like maybe pick a topic.
So what would be for those? I didn't. When I have my time here at St. Margaret's, I have not had faith forums here.
Okay.
For those of us who don't know what faith forums are, could you explain that to us?
A faith forum is what we would do is on a Sunday after the 12 noon Mass, which is our last Mass, we would have a program over in the AEC. And there'd be a light lunch, and then there would be a topic of conversation. And it changed. We tried to do like maybe 3 or 4 a year. Sometimes it would be, you know, liturgically themed, like Advent. We might do something on the Incarnation. Other times it's just an open space for people to ask questions of whoever the presenter is. It's not always a clergy person, but sometimes it is. And I'd say about half the times it'll be a clergy person. So one of the things the team was thinking is like a faith forum, like so a place where you have like 90 minutes to kind of break open something might be a good place to give some in-depth catechesis on like a current issue or one of the more challenging teachings of the church, because one of the things that did come up is that in terms of challenges, and these are people, you know, people who are coming to Mass, so they're engaged in their faith, is that seeing the church can be, I'll just throw out one, exclusive, like in terms of, and a lot of it around the LGBTQ issue. So, and that community and ministering to that community. So that might be something that could be broken open in a faith forum, like the ones that are more challenging, looking at marriage, looking at annulment, looking at divorce, like things that tend to...
And that might be a little bit more sensitive
yes.
to talk about.
Yes.
With all ages.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, and so it's a place where I think that we need to recognize that people are, you know, that they're wrestling with some of the teachings of the church, and give us a place, give everyone a place to kind of come together and learn and talk in a place that's respectful and shared. So that was one of the other ideas that we had for catechesis. And